Well, good morning folks, welcome back to the channel, welcome to another review video. We are in Kingston, Jamaica today, and you're looking at Norman Manley International Airport, Mike Kilo Juliet Papa. This is a payware version by Wingsim. This is version 1. Wingsim are a fairly well-known developer, just started doing some projects for Flight Simulator 2020. The download of this airport is 470 meg and it installs at 745 megs into your community folder. It's available at Sim Market. Prices, currently it's at €19.19, which equates to $20.19 US, or £16.47 UK. US and UK prices are estimates and include VAT tax, which of course will vary depending on where you live, which country you make the purchase from. It's a nice location. I know this airport reasonably well in the simulated world, having flown in here many times, especially in the old days when the VOR station was way out here and basically the landing was a 6-mile visual approach into runway 12 here. So I know it reasonably well, and obviously now it's come to Flight Simulator 2020 and all the visual quality that you'd expect to see in the sim is here. It's a really nice little rendition. It's probably just about worth the price, maybe just a little bit less, because there's a lot that could have been done that hasn't, and it does rely quite a lot on sort of photo ground scenery rather than custom design, but there is a lot on the airport to make it look really good. As I say, so it's available now from Sim Market. We're going to take a good look at it and have a look around it and see what's been done to the airport and the local harbour and the local island, if anything. So thanks for joining me. We will start with a bit of history for you. So, the airport, formerly known as Palisados Airport, Kingston Norman Manley International, is an international airport that serves the city of Kingston on the island of Jamaica in the Caribbean Sea. The airport is located in the south side of the island, 11 miles or 19 kilometers from downtown Kingston, on the Palisados Tombolo, just outside the port of Kingston and facing the city on one side, the Caribbean Sea on the other. It's located on a narrow strip of land that forms the south side of Kingston Harbour. So here's the narrow strip of land, here's this Kingston Harbour, and the port area up here in the distance. The airport was named in honour of the Jamaican statesman Norman Manley, and the airport's a local hub of local carrier Caribbean Airlines. So more than 130 international flights a week depart from this airport, and in 2019 the airport handled over 1.8 million passengers. NMIA Airports Limited operates the airport and is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, AAJ, which was incorporated in 2003. The airport is operated under a 30-year concession agreement with AAJ and is held to specific performance targets. Jamaica's had a long and vibrant civil aviation industry, with the first flight reported on the island on 21st of December 1911. This was 8 years after the world recorded its first powered flight by the Wright brothers. 19 years later, 3rd of December 1930, the first commercial flight, a consolidated Commodore twin-engine flying boat, operated by the now defunct Pan American Airways, landed in Kingston Harbour. 1934, Dr. Albert Edward Forsyth and Alfred the Chief Anderson, fathers of African American aviation, arrived in Jamaica from Cuba. This was the first time a land plane arrived at the island by air. Significant growth in the aviation sector led to the establishment of the Civil Aviation Department, or CAD, of Jamaica in 1947. 1 year later, in 1948, the Kingston Air Traffic Control Centre was established. The same year, Palisados Airport, now Norman Manley International, and Montego Bay Airport, now known as Sangster International, were established. So the airport is served by over 15 airlines and some 6 cargo operators. A couple of interesting facts for you. Kingston Airport was featured in the first James Bond film, Dr. No, in 1962. On 22nd December 2009, an American Airlines Boeing 737-800 overshot the runway shortly after 10 p.m. during a heavy rainstorm. The aircraft broke up into 3 pieces, finally coming to a stop approximately 15 to 20 feet, or 4.5 to 6.1 meters, from the sea. All passengers and crew exited the aircraft safely. Runways. So Kingston Airport operates a single runway, runway 1230, which is 8,911 feet long, or 2,716 meters, and is made from asphalt. The runway is uneven and pools of standing water can develop after heavy rain. Runway 12, and we're looking down the throat of runway 12 now, is the only instrument landing equipped runway, and additionally you have RNAV and VOR approach options available as well. In the old days, landing on runway 12 was a visual approach from 6 miles out after crossing the VOR. VOR was this side of the island, some 6 miles away, but the VOR has now been relocated and moved pretty much right onto the airfield itself. This end of the runway is equipped with Smart Airfield Lighting System, SALS. It's a mechanism for switching on the airfield ground lighting system whenever sensors detect the motion of inbound and outbound aircraft coming towards and departing from the airport runway. This runway also has precision approach path indicators on both sides, and you can see them here. So here's the short smart approach lighting system. Here you've also got end identifier lights, and as you can see the runway itself is well equipped light-wise, including touchdown markings. This is over and above what the charts state, but as I've said before in many of these reviews, give me as much ability to land here, navigation aids that I need, and that will be great. So now we're looking down runway 30, and according to the charts, runway 30 also features a smart airfield lighting system, and again has precision approach path indicators on both sides of the runway. So you can see the precision approach path indicators, but the smart lighting system approach lights is missing. So that's just the one thing that is missing from the scenery. But with the precision approach path indicators and the runway actually so well lit here, making a landing on 30, should you have to, probably wouldn't present too much of a problem at night time or at dusk. But runway 12 is the main landing. You've also got RNAV and VOR approach options to this runway, and there's also a circling approach option. However, circling is not permitted north of the runway. That would be this side here. So there you are, some history for you. This airport's been around a long time, and as I said, I know it fairly well, having flown into it many times. I'm really pleased that it's come to Flight Simulator 2020. So it's a payware version 1 by a company called Wingsim. It's available now on Sim Market. So let's get down close up and see what's been done in the new simulator to see just how well this airport has been designed. Okay, we'll start just looking at the general buildings here and the jetways. The jetways apparently are custom, so they should work. I haven't tried them, but as you can see, the ground markings are quite good. Concrete looks good. Nice to see some weathering here on the side of the buildings, and you've got the stand numbers and little bits and pieces here around the airport. And there we are, looking towards part of the terminal and the control tower. Here you've got some nice weathering markings as well. The stand lines look okay, markings on the ground look acceptable. Custom jetways don't look too bad. I need to sort of test them out, I guess, really. But all this looks quite acceptable and quite nice, and the detail is quite good. So coming up to the old control tower there, again we can see weathering on the building, and nice effects on the windows here. Okay, none of these are clear, and I will tell you that there's been no internal development in this old control tower or the new one, which we'll look at shortly, or inside the terminal. No internal development of the buildings at all. So So what you see is what you get, is what I'm saying. So here we are airside again. That said, looking towards the terminal here, this is airside. In general, it looks fine. I mean, what you need as a pilot is here. Everything is here, and I got a feeling this will probably look so much better during the evening or dusk hours. I mean, we're at noon today, as I do with most of my videos, so you get a good look at everything. Glassware looks great. Go a little closer and just track across here. Lots of clutter, bits and pieces here. And this does look nice. They've done a nice little job, and although they've not done much on the way inside, they have done little bits here and there. Later we'll look at a hangar that has been developed reasonably well inside, but all this looks really quite acceptable. Again, looking towards the terminal here, we're airside. Lots of detail on these containers, more than I've seen on some of the others actually. They look really good. Men's and ladies toilets, which is a good thing to have airside for whenever you're caught short. And I mean, look at the cracking here. This is nice weathering. So they've done quite a bit. You know, it just looks lovely. It's great. And really love the detail on these baggage containers. As you can see, looks really, really good. And just a quick look across the airside ramp there. I mean, the whole thing looks really nice. It just looks weathered. It looks used. It's been really done quite nicely. Okay, this crack texture's been repeated again on the other side of the building, but you know what? I'm not complaining. It looks great. So just a look from airside towards landside over the roof of the main building here. All looks really nice. There's the new control tower. As I said, both towers don't have any internal development. They are complete in as much as you can go inside and you can see through the glass, but there's no people or radar screens or anything like that. But all of this looks very, very nice, very acceptable. And they're looking out towards the threshold of runway 12. I mean, all of this just looks just as it was meant to be. I've looked at several photographs, and I've toured the port harbour here and the island itself, and the whole place looks wonderful. It's really nice to start exploring here. And here they've even got static aircraft. As you can see, you've got this jet here, an old 737-200 sitting there, Caribbean Airlines 737-800, and I think this is a 400 sitting there. So I just thought we'd quickly have a close-up look at this Boeing here. This model looks really nice. It's very nicely textured. The inside of the hangar looks great. As you can see, the top of this is well weathered. Very nice model of the 737-800 Caribbean Airlines there. As you can see, even going up close, it looks really nicely done. And again, you've got the same weathering effect on some of these buildings. And another old 737 sitting there too. So let's just tour around the runway area and around the island. Here we're crossing the threshold of runway 30 there to the left. As you can see, ground markings, taxiway markings and lines are all very sharp and crisp, no problems at all. There's the VOR that was moved. It used to be out on the further east on the island, west on the island. Here you've got the lighthouse. This is a well-known item that sits on the coast. Many times I've seen it. There is a lot of photo scenery here rather than developed ground roads and stuff like that, but here you've got this road that goes along here, and they've done a couple of signs, which is nice, and all of these buildings look quite nice too. So let's just come up and tour the runway along and then move along the coast. So there are the Pappies for 30, got a windsock there on the left. As you can see, lots of lights ready to be used on the runway there. Signage looks really good. There's the fire station. Once again, a nice rustic building, well used, very nice models of the fire engines themselves. And there we are looking into towards Kingston Harbour. It just, the whole ambience of the place looks really nice. Got a couple of palm trees, the boulders there on the edge, and the buildings are so nicely weathered. It's a very nice feature of this scenery, I think, and gives it an aged look. And the airport's been around a long time. So let's just have a little whiz up the taxiway here. Lines are good, signage there on the left. Plenty of good signage. Entry and exit signs, which is good. It's all really, really nice. So we're just coming across from the taxiway along towards the main runway, and here you can see all of the ground signage is just as you'd expect it to be. Very, very nicely done. So the airport's set in lovely green textures here. All looks really, really good. There are the pappies on both sides of the runway at the 1-2 end. That's part of the ILS system on the left there. So as you can see, the airport looks pretty good. We're just going to tour the coast here and go down to Port Royal. There used to be an old prison or a fort there. It's not, I can't see it modelled now, but there's also an undersea pirate wreck, which isn't modelled in the scenery, but does exist up here. But as you can see, it's a beautiful place. Lovely coastline. Probably worth getting a light aircraft and doing a little exploring around here. We'll take a little run up here. As I say, we're going away from the airport now just to have a look at the island location generally. This is default scenery. I don't think they've added anything at all outside the airport. But just having photogrammetry switch on, just to give you an idea of what exists around here, and just how nice it looks. Beautiful little island. So this is Port Royal. There are in the real world 1 or 2 hotels and bits and pieces. The sunken wreck is supposed to be sort of over here, and this building here I think was the old fort that is now being turned into a museum, I believe. Beautiful water textures. As you can see, some photogrammetry there with some boats on the harbour. So we'll have a quick whiz over to the main Kingston harbour itself, the port of Kingston, so you can have a look at some of the photogrammetry and photo scenery that exists. Just slow down as we approach here. So this is all default, but it really does look quite nice. Again, lots to explore and have a look at here. There's the main highway. It's the main highway that goes down past the port. And all of it looks really, really nice. Very interesting place. So as you can see, lots to have a look at and explore, as well as the airport itself. From a pilot's point of view, you've got everything you need here. And it does look very quaint. It's really, really nice. And pretty accurately reflects the airport as I remember it over the years. Be interesting to hear the opinion of somebody who's actually been here or maybe lives here, but I think it's really nice. So let's turn the lighting down to dusk and have a look at the lighting of the airport generally, and we'll also have another look at we'll have a look at the terminal landside and see how that looks with the lighting down. Okay, it's 10 to 8 in the evening. The sun has just dipped below the horizon, so it's properly dusk now. And you can see we've got a little bit of subtle lighting here. This all looks quite nice, not terribly bright, but it's okay. And this all looks quite good too. Again, you can see green taxiway centre lines, blue airfield edge lights, vehicles going around that are lit as well, which is a good thing, and the runway is well defined in the sunset. So let's get a close-up look at the stands and see what it looks like generally. So as you can see, lighting looks good. It's more than adequate. You've got these big lights here which are lighting up the area on the stands. Plenty for you to see at this time of the night. And all of it looks good. Very subtle, nicely done. And looking at this side, again you can see subtle lighting. Not a huge amount, but plenty of it on the stands, which is where you need it. There's my aircraft, and you can see lighting's perfectly fine. And looking out towards the runway, you know, the stands themselves are well lit. There are really no complaints at all there. And you can see here we've got the signage that denotes what aircraft type. All of this is really, really good. Let's go landside of the main terminal and have a look and see what that looks like. Okay, first of all, just looking at the west side here, there you can see the NIA sign, the people that responsible for operating the airport. Again, some nice little subtle lighting here that's being done. So looking towards the main terminal here, you've got the typical Asobo globes sitting around everywhere, but actually there's not a problem, because you've got the main lights which are in the right place and they're lighting up the correct areas, so again, no complaints. Nice car models in the car park. Fence line looks good, and the subtle lighting of the buildings is really nice. Let's have a look at a few little features. Very nice indeed. And that looks good. Was he the fastest man alive at one point? Yeah, brilliant. Here we are looking at the main terminal landside. Again, the lighting's perfectly adequate. Minimal detail here, but it's fine. Don't have a problem with it at all. It looks great. Got some trucks going along the road there. And the foliage is really nice. I like the way the fence line has been done. The terminal's been adequately done so that it looks like the real building, and that I think is the important thing. But as I said, no internal modelling at all, but that's fine. Just a little look at this end, the eastern end of the building. Again, the shrubbery looks good, palm trees, and you can see there has been at least a little bit of an attempt here to give the illusion of something inside there. Some offices, some cars. This represents sort of the cargo side of everywhere, and again you've got parked cars and buildings. The whole thing looks really nice. It's very, very quaint. So just looking at the southeastern corner of the airport there, you can see the lighthouse. Interesting there, because it's clearly showing some kind of a light beacon, but it seems like the whole lighthouse is lit up. But that may be an Asobo thing. I don't know if it's included as part of the scenery. Would have been nice to see this hangar lit up at night, because it's clearly something that's been modelled inside and you can't see it during the darkness hours. But again, here's a good look at the green taxiway centre line. They're nice and bright. Airfield edge lights are bright. Signage on the runway. All of this is very welcome. So here, just want to have a close look at the lighthouse. It's a lovely effect, but unfortunately the whole building is turning with light. But again, there's no mention of this as a scenery addition from Wingsim, so this may well be a default thing. But as you can see, it's a nice effect, but it would have been nice to have it properly lit rather than having the whole thing lit up. Two signs lit up at night, looks really good. So there's an overview of the airport itself, and you can see the city in the background, and you've got the harbour up here to the left. So let's drop it to night time now and see whether the lighting comes up, and just see whether it looks any different. Nice to see the windsock here is lit as well. Okay, just after 10 PM local time, and as you can see it's proper darkness now, and also as you can see the lighting has indeed come up on the airport, and it looks really good from here. There's a nice little view here of how the airport looks and the runway. Again, the ground lighting is excellent. It's nice and bright. It can even be seen well from up here. Again, let's go down a little bit low and have a look. We'll start with a runway tour first, from the 30 to 12, and have a look at the runway lighting. So there you can see the runway here. This is runway 30, which only has VOR and RNAV approaches, but you can still see you've got touchdown zone here, end identifier lights, and the PAPIs are all in. Again, green taxiway centerline lights and the blue airfield edge lights all look good. There's the lighthouse and the two signs that are lit, and everything looks really nice. Let's just go and do a tour of this up towards the 1-2 end. So we're coming down quite low so you can see some of the signage too. There's the windsock that's lit. There's the fire station on the right that also has some lighting, which is very welcome. Turn off lights there. Taxiway signs. All of this looks good. Very impressed with it. Coming up to the very end, this is the threshold of runway 12. This is the ILS equipped end of the runway. And there you are, looking straight down the throat of runway 12, the ILS equipped runway, and you can see the lighting all looks good. So back to where we started on the main ramp. Here's my jet parked up here, and now, as I say, at night time the full lighting is up and you can see. I might be able to actually do a test of one of these jetways. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, it's gone through the aircraft skin part of it, but it's connected and it's fine, and the animation works quite well, so that's quite good. Again, the lighting on the ground is perfect. Really, really is good. Just a little run towards this light tower here. Just to give you some idea of the ambience of the airport at night. It's nice to see that lit up with the flashing red. And as you can see, it looks really, really pleasant. Very pleasant indeed. Here we are, tracking landside of the main terminal. Again, lighting is more than adequate. It's very, very nice. As I said, no internal modelling, minimal development here, but you know, I'm not complaining. It does the job and it looks the part. Very pleased. Just moving across to the car park now. Again, you can see the foliage. The trees look good. Some palm trees, some ordinary trees, and little subtle bits of lighting here and there. This is all a bit dark, unfortunately. It's not that well defined. You can see a green taxiway light, so you can understand this is part of the airport. But you'd be forgiven for wondering where you are. So we know that some of these buildings are hangars. As far as I can remember, this is a hangar that has the aircraft inside. Let's see if we can have a look. There you go. Would have been nice to see some lighting here, but again, just minimal stuff. Okay, you could taxi here if you needed to, but realistically, that's about it. Well, the central area on the apron there has all the lighting, signage, and everything that you need, which is great. So all in all, it's a very pleasant night scene that you can see in front of you, with the airport nicely lit and the city in the background. It all looks pretty nice. We'll just bring it up to dawn and have a look and see how it looks at dawn. Okay, 6:35 a.m. local time. As you can see, the dawn is beginning to come up and the lighting has gone down a little bit. It's about to beginning to fade, but everything still looks really pleasant in the early morning dawn here. There we are, looking towards the threshold of runway 12 in the distance, and right down the end of the island chain here is Port Royal. There's the Kingston Harbour. There's one or two ships out in the middle as well. And there's the beach, runway 30 threshold, and you've got the sun coming up here. Got a little anomaly here. Sun hasn't really quite appeared yet it's casting a shadow. But I'm sure these are little things that will be sorted out. But again, a very pleasant looking place. Flight Sim 2020 is really bringing little places to life in a way that they haven't sort of existed in some of the other sims. I mean, P3D did really well, and we all remember that. But 2020 just blows it away, and now that we're able to get our heads round developing for this sim, we're getting a much more realistic experience. Just my thoughts there. And there you can see the models and the bits and pieces here. All in all, very, very nice. Okay, just before 9 a.m. in the morning, and it's probably time to wrap this review up and have a chat about what I think. It's nice. My thoughts, I like it. As I said, I've done many transatlantics into Kingston in Flight Sim 2004 and in FSX. Don't remember doing any in P3D, but when I was doing 747 testing years ago, I flew into Norman Manley many times. There's an arc approach that used to bring us in over the mountains here with a big left turn to catch the VOR, which is on the far left side. If I just turn the angle round here, the actual VOR station was located somewhere out here, some 6 miles off the airport, and you came into the VOR on a heading of 122, I think it was, and then at 2,000 feet, and then it was a 6-mile visual into runway 12. Now, of course, they've moved the VOR, and there's the VOR station down there. They've moved it onto the airport, and approaches to the airport are a lot more accurate than they were in those days. But yeah, lovely little scenery. Do I think it's worth the price? It's difficult to judge because there's no development in the internal development in the buildings. There's a lot that's not been done. I mean, there are little roads and bits and pieces around here that have just been left to photogrammetry scenery, like these here. But you know, the whole island looks really nice. The basic scenery, default scenery, looks really good with the beaches, Kingston Bay here. The runway's been done beautifully, very well lit in the low light hours, which is really important. Custom jetways are good, and the weathering on the buildings here, on the ground and on the buildings, are some of the best I've seen. It looks really, really good. And they've added a few additional static aircraft and bits and pieces around. And the quality of some of the models are quite nice. Fire station's excellent. The cars that you've got in the car park are nicely modelled. And the building reflects the real building, even though there's nothing inside. And even right down to the texturing on the baggage dollies, all of it looks really good. So yeah, it's probably worth about 18-19 euros, so the price is probably about right. I would like to see, if they had the chance, they need to add the smart approach lighting system to runway 30, which is missing, but it's on the charts. And I would like to see them develop the terminal and the landside and airside area just a little bit more. And I'd also like to see some lighting here. There's a lot of detail here that's completely missed the moment the sun goes down. So that needs to be lit up. So guys from Wingsim, if you're watching this from version 1, if you're looking to do version 2, I would like to see you please to light this area up properly. And if somebody can get and do a basic internal structure on the terminal, and just make it a little bit more ambient landside as well. I mean, there's 1 or 2 cars. The roads are left to photo scenery. They've not been finely depicted. Like to see that done. And just improve the lighting generally around here. And maybe develop the fire station a bit more. Lovely little model here that could be developed And if you really want to go the whole hog, do the control tower. And if somebody can correct the lighthouse lighting, if you can do all of that, then you know, I would pay 25 euros for it, 26 euros, because that shows commitment to work. And again, this is an iconic airport in a nice location that would really benefit from those sort of upgrades. But yep, I think it's pretty much about worth what they've got. Okay, if they don't do that, you've still got a nice airport and an amazing place to fly into, and some scenery around to explore. So there you go, Kingston Norman Manley International Airport, Mike Kilo Juliet Papa. It's the payware version 1 by Wingsim. Downloads at 470 meg, installs at 745 megs, available from SimMarket now for €19.19, just over $20 US and just over £16 UK, prices including tax and VAT. Thank you again for joining me in this review. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, especially if you're on the fence about whether you want to buy this. Another quick disclaimer, I bought it, I wasn't given it to review, I paid for it, and I will be flying in here. Lots of nice flights down to Jamaica. Can't wait to do it. So guys, have a great week, and look out for another video coming shortly where I'll be looking at Grand Cayman, another place I've flown into many times in the previous Sims. And a nice scenery that we're going to explore in detail. So thanks again for joining me. This is Lee, your virtual airline pilot, saying bye for now. I'll see you in the next review. Bye bye.